Cutting taxes can mean more money in your wallet, but if that money keeps our community safe, healthy, and educated, is it worth it?
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he supports the idea of doing away with property taxes, but what happens next, especially for our local cities and counties that rely on them? Wink News reporter Paul Dolan asked experts to help figure out how this could impact our lives.
Property tax revenue helps to fund the future of our community.
To the extent that property taxes are used to fund things that we actually need, then yes, they are helpful.
That's Shelton Weeks. He's a real estate professor at FGCU. He tells me if property tax goes away, the next time you sit at your favorite restaurant, you could pay there instead. Or when you buy a new hat or jewelry. Because one solution is making up the money with an increased sales tax. Professor Weeks breaks it down.
If you consider the most likely alternative, it would probably involve a significant increase in, say, sales tax or going to a state income tax. Property tax that is collected each year in the state of Florida, it's a staggering amount.
Property tax revenue in Lee County for this fiscal year is more than $600 million. In Collier County, more than $574 million. And in Charlotte, $267 million. With money going towards courts, law enforcement, and in some counties, schools. When I met Taylor Breeley in downtown Fort Myers, she told me the money could be spent more wisely.
I do believe that, hospitals and emergency, that they are putting money towards the right things, but there are some areas that need work.
But what happens if the community can't make up the millions?
If we're not going to have the same amount of revenue, then you got to figure out what it is that we're going to eliminate. Are those emergency services? Probably some very tough choices that would have to be made if you had a system put in place that didn't generate the same amount of revenue.
Good questions with hundreds of millions of dollars and essential services at stake. In downtown Fort Myers, Paul Dolan, Wink News.
So here's the bottom line. Eliminating property taxes requires a constitutional amendment since they get collected locally rather than by the state. That means a 60% supermajority of voters needs to support it in order to pass. On March 4th, Florida's legislative session begins, and this is expected to be discussed at length.